kind of feeling today as you guys move forward, getting ready for the Texans?
Just a desperate mindset. We're just desperate to get a win. Just finding any means necessary. Really, that's been the mindset. It's just by any means necessary, go ahead and go in there and get this win. They're 0-3 just like us. They're probably feeling the same way we're feeling. They started off with a lot of struggles on their team to start the year. But yeah, straight desperation just to get this win.
With how things have started, so much is going wrong. Like, is it tough to keep a week-to-week mindset, or and not like look into like, oh man, like we got to turn this around. We got to win these 3 games. Get back to that type of 500 level.
Is it tough? Yeah, it is tough when you can't win 3 games in 1 week and just immediately catch back up. You got to take it week by week, like you said, and that's I guess the tough part is just knowing each week we can only win 1 game, but like you said, we just got to come back each week and keep doing the things that we preach, and having them finally come to fruition on the field is what we're trying to do. We're preaching a lot of stuff that we're just not putting out there on tape, so that's what we're trying to get to.
How has Brian Callahan been as far as helping you guys have that focus week to week? Let's go 1-0 this week and then 2-0 next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the mindset that he's coming in, with just telling us and kind of flush the past. That's all we can do. All we can do is keep going forward. All we can do is go play the next week. And like I said, the team that we're going to play is it's very similar to the team that we're at right now. But at the same time, the Texans are still a really good football team. They have a really good front, really good defense. So we definitely have a lot of work to do this week. But this is one we can definitely get, and we're definitely going to go out there and put our best forward.
You guys are asked to be decisive in a lot of circumstances. Brian was very indecisive on the field goal or go for it. I'm just curious how that jives with his mindset wasn't what he's asking you guys to have, and seems to kind of contradict everything you're being asked to do.
I'm not too sure what happened on the field goal before the half, but yeah, being decisive. That's a coach thing. We're just players. We're just focused on on our part. I wasn't even aware of what was happening at the time. I was just so focused on the mistakes that we were making.
What were you focused on during 2 timeouts and the offense running off the field late?
What was I focused?
What are you thinking about during all that time?
What was I thinking about? I was personally, talking with with my coach and our offense, about the stuff that we need to correct. So I wasn't even aware of all the stuff that was going on during that point. But yeah, I was just focused on the offense and just figuring out what was going on that was putting us in the situation to even have to kick the field goal, and why we weren't able to get the first down on the short yardage situation.
See, as you guys are walking off the field halftime, obviously you heard the boos. What's going through your mind? As you guys, your fans, they're booing you guys pretty intensely.
I feel like they have the right, to boo at a time like that. They don't see the product that we promised them, in the off season. We told them that it was going to be something different, and we're putting out something different. So they definitely have the right, to do that. We haven't been playing very well at all, so they have the right, and we also have the, what am I trying to say? We need to step up, for the fans and give them something to cheer for. We need to step up and give them something to cheer for. So right now they're in the right. They're in the right to boo us. We just lost, by 3 touchdowns at home. They definitely have a right to boo us right now. So that's just something we need to, keep coming back and working on. And so when we come back here in 3 weeks, we're able, to just give them something that they want to see.
The desperation you mentioned, does that help in your experience? What is the value of being desperate? Sometimes people would call it pressing again. Is there a difference between pressing and desperation?
I think desperate is by any means, It's just we don't care how we're going to get this win. It could be the ugliest win, what it is. By any means necessary, we just want to get the win.
Is this a different attitude than you've had in the last couple of weeks?
I think so. Just because 3 in a row, we're trying to find, our identity, and So I definitely think so. Just the added losses, stacking up on top of each other. We know like now it's like we got to go. And then especially like I said, going against another team that's 0-3, it's like looking at like yourself. So it's like now we know we got to go get this dub.
I guess you had a productive game yesterday. I guess how's things going with Cam from your standpoint, and how you like what you've seen out of him in three games?
I like the way that he bounces back, from a play that doesn't go his way. Like, he started the game off, on the first drive with a pick six, but he ended up, bouncing back and playing a pretty clean game after that. So I really like that out of him.
How much you need some guys to overachieve?
Sorry, what did you say?
To overachieve, to get you guys out of this. How much do you need some guys to overachieve, to do more?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the NFL. Like when you get down in a situation like this 0-3, some guys gotta step up. Some guys gotta step up and start making plays, for the team. I mean that's the name of the game. You gotta make plays to win the game, and we just don't have enough of those right now. So a lot of guys definitely gotta step up and, like you say, overachieve. We gotta, play out of our minds, to get this thing back up.
How would you evaluate the job that you guys as a line have done from week 1 to week 2, 2 to 3, trying to take steps in the right direction?
Yeah, I think we have made strides. Just going through the film today, I think you're seeing some technical things that have gotten better across the board. Also I think, yesterday they kind of threw a kitchen sink at us a little bit, pressure-wise, and we adjusted to that, as the game went on, I think. And so I think, obviously, I feel like we started slow and, a little bit slow in the second game too. And I think there's been steps in that direction that's positive. So that's a good takeaway. We've got to keep building that because obviously not quite where we need to be yet, but need to make the steps forward.
What are the specific things that you guys are struggling with right now, things that have to get better?
There's all kinds of things I think that come up that can be better. I think just handling pressure and pickups is big. And games and pass rush has been a really challenging thing for us. So those things stand up.
It's early in the week. You got to watch them this year. But what do you get consistently when you play Texans in that defense?
Yeah, you get a great rush. Those guys are rush and crush. There's elite players in the edge and inside. They thrive off rushing the quarterback, and they're going to get after you. I mean, we won the game last year. We still gave up a bunch of sacks. So it's a huge challenge playing them. It's always a pain in the butt because they're really good. They make your life hell as an offensive lineman.
The Jerry's and Roger both said they thought you guys came out flat on the offensive side of the ball. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you start with a 1-yard run and completion at pick six, I think that's pretty flat. So definitely not an ideal start. I think that's about as flat as you can get. So we can't do that. We can't put ourselves in a hole. We can't let them score points without our defense even being on the field. So it's got to be better.
They had a guy say he saw it in you guys in warm-ups, that you weren't ready to play, that you didn't bounce.
I think it's a little bit of a convenient comment to make after the game, but I'm not sure if I really felt that warm-ups were particularly slow or flat. I think it's always good to have juice. I don't know if you need to be doing backflips and stuff in warm-ups to be ready. I think regardless, you still have to go out and execute. So I'm not sure if I noticed that in particular, but yeah, I guess you can make it, when they beat us like they did, they can make whatever comments they want. So.
Starting faster since you got here as a rookie, is there a measure of surprise that things like that are still issues that you guys are talking through?
I think it's always a challenge. It's always going to be a hard thing to deal with. And so I don't know if they're surprised, but it's always going to be something that is emphasized. And it's just one component of the whole game, but I don't know. It's just always something we have to focus on, and we just haven't done a good enough job of it.
How desperate are you guys? At 0-3, obviously you need to win. You got your coach. He's basically on the grill. How desperate are you guys to get a win next season?
I think I've always been a big believer in never buying too much into the highs and lows of the season. Obviously, we're at a low right now, but in my opinion, you should never be that much more desperate, week 4 at 0-3 than you were week 1 at 0-0. You should always be going out and executing like you want to win. to put the emphasis of, oh my God, this is where our record is now, and there's a lot of heat on us, and we got to be desperate, and we got to be super tense, and I don't know. But to me, your process is the same every week, and it's to go out and win. So I try not to be dictated too much by those external factors. It's just doing the best I can to execute, and to do my part into helping us win.
Are you guys feeling like you need to do something for him? Are you feeling what the town is feeling towards him?
I think it's always just just going off what I was saying at TD is doing our job week in and week out in terms of the process is the same and attacking it the same way and doing what we need to execute and win. I don't think it's always a great idea to be too influenced by external factors and fan and media pressure. The goal every week is to win and go out there and execute. So that's what we're going to do.
Reaction brought up today or yesterday in the locker room from coaches among players? Just is that something you guys talk about at all?
Not really. I think everyone's professionals here, and we try not to listen too much to media and stuff like that. I try to avoid it as much as I can. So it is what it is. If we were 3-0, they'd be hyping us up like we were going to win the Super Bowl, and that wouldn't be a fair assessment either. So we're just going to do our thing and work hard and get back to work. So never overly concerned with that stuff.
As a leader on the defense, what's kind of the takeaway or maybe the message after a half like you guys finished the game with yesterday where just nothing seemed to go right?
When we watched the film just now as a team, as a defense, and, obviously the score was not what we wanted to be, but, there were things that we got to clean up and things that we did, well, but at the end of the day, it's about details, fundamentals, and just doing your basic job of just your 1 of 11.
Tackling, take a step back, I guess, in your mind yesterday. Tackling, we got to tackle better across the board. That's another detail of just that fundamentals that we have to just hone in on and tighten up.
Amani, there were a couple guys, I think it was Legarius and Roger, who said that felt like the team maybe was flat to start the game. Michael Pittman said they kind of noticed it in pregame intros as well. And there was talk of being flat coming into the third quarter last week. What has to maybe happen in the locker room to get guys coming out at the start of the game and at the start of the second half ready to go?
From my perspective, I thought we weren't ready to go. I don't know what, Pittman saw pregame that made him think that, but regardless, we got to come out ready to play. You shouldn't need to hype up, guys that play professional ball that they've been dreaming to play. So, whatever the case is may be, we got to come out ready to go and be ready to play every Sunday.
Do you think that's overrated? Like how much guys bounce around before a game and how much
I see college games, there's kids bouncing around. NFL games, there's guys, super hype, and then they end up, losing games or getting blown out too. So, it's really just a matter of, whatever your team is, if you're a hype team, be a hype team. If you're not a hype team, just be you as long as we come out and we can be detailed.
What is this team?
We're mixed. We got a mix of different guys. We got guys like, Jeff, Cam, Sneed, they're high energies. And you got guys like Draymond Jones, me, we're more laid back, as far as hooting and hollering. But at the end of the day, we're a team, we're a collective, and we're going to go out there and just compete.
Does this team need a unified identity?
I think we have an identity. I feel like we just have to go out and it's just details. Right now, from outside looking in, it's pretty easy to it's pretty easy to see, it's pretty easy to look at us and, we're 0-3 and it's hard to, find a culture outside looking in. But when we watched the film today, we saw that, it's just small things that we're letting slip that we just have to hone in on.
You've been around this team for periods where there have been 2 or 3 game skids and you've gotten back out of it.
Yeah.
In your experience, what tends to go right when you pull yourself back up out of a pit like this?
The team comes together. No one wants to lose. No one goes out there to lose. But at the end of the day, we're a team, and we're the ones that have to go out there and play on Sunday. So every time, we had a losing streak, that week we've come together as a team. We've played for each other and held each other accountable.
Chig talked about we have kind of a desperate mindset. What does that mean to you? And how do you have that mindset, not let it put too much pressure on you?
Yeah, you don't want to be too desperate to where you're trying to chase plays. At the end of the day, the main thing is just make the play that comes to you. The ball is thrown to you, catch it. The play for you to come up and make a tackle, make the tackle. You don't have to overstress to try to do something outside of what you're asked to do.
Facing a team you feel like is in a similar spot, and on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean
Texas.
they're similar record. They're still a good team, even though their record's 0-3. We got to go out, compete. They're gonna be ready to go. They're gonna be fired up, and we got to do the same thing.
You got to game prep and watch film, but what are you going to get in them? What have you gotten from them when you faced them in the past?
We got a full game out of them. I'm pretty sure every time we played them, it's kind of gone down to the last drive, last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. They do a good job running the ball. CJ's, good job of distributing to their receivers. They got a few young guys that, I'm going to go take a look at this week, and we'll see what they look like.
Amani, you're one of the captains, obviously. How do you feel this team, like that locker room, how do you feel you guys are in regards to Brian Callahan and him not losing you guys as a locker room?
No, we got a bunch of pros on the team. We got a bunch of guys that love ball. Like I said, we're going to come together, even though, the record doesn't show what type of team we are. We got a lot of pros from year 1 to year 11 on the team. And, guys know ball, what it takes to win in this league, and that's going to have us come together, and we can do that.
Also, as you were walking in halftime, obviously, I know you heard the boos and everything. What do you think when you hear that? And what would be some of the things you would tell the fans, hey, this is the reason why you should have hope?
The reason why you should have hope is because you got guys on the team that are ball players. You got guys that can play, all positions. We're not lacking any talent anywhere. We got talent across the board. It just comes down to the small details of everyone's job, and that will magnify everything else.
What were you thinking, when you're hearing those boos rain down like that?
It comes with the profession. I've heard boos, I've heard cheers, and whether they're cheering really, really loud for us or booing really loud for us, you can't get too high or low no matter what. Because, when you start the second half, we're still in the game at the start of the second half.
Do you think the team responded properly to the booing, or did it affect you guys at all?
I don't think it was like, oh, they're booing us, and then we go out there and play bad. I think it was details from the start of the game all the way through the end of the game that had to be better.